Say you are in a hospital and need some medication administered. How will you get it? Will you drink it? Will you be jabbed with a needle? If you're going to be jabbed with a needle, where will it be stuck into your body? The answers to these questions actually depends on many factors, including the person's medication, condition, and mental state, and the pharmacology of the drug in question. While there are many issues to consider when giving medication, including a myriad of routes and sites of drug administration, this lesson will only focus on the principal ones, so you're not overwhelmed with too much information all at once. When I say routes, I mean the different general ways we can give a medication, such as orally, rectally, by vein, and so on. When I say sites, I mean the specific locations on the body where we give the medication, usually an injection. There are 4 principal routes of drug administration. They are known by their abbreviations: IM, IV, SQ, and PO. IM stands for intramuscular, where intra means within, and muscular obviously refers to a muscle. This means we are injecting a person with a medication, but we are using a syringe and needle to place it directly into the muscle itself. IV is the abbreviation for intravenous. Knowing what intra means already, you can clearly understand that this route of drug administration is injecting the medication into the vein directly. In this instance, we're also using a needle and syringe, or a catheter, to place the drug into a person's venous system. This is the fastest and most direct way a drug can be administered into the body. SQ stands for subcutaneous. Sub means under, like in a submarine, and cutaneous refers to the skin. So we are placing the medication, using a needle and syringe, under the skin, but above the muscle that the skin overlies. The final major and principal route of drug administration is PO, or per os. Per means by, and os means mouth, so PO literally translates to by mouth. Every time you take a pill and swallow it down with some water, you are taking that pill PO. Before I move on, I do want to give you a concrete example of why it's important to know these different routes of drug administration in a more practical setting. Let's say that you are a doctor working in an emergency room. In comes a patient being wheeled into the ER. The patient is unconscious and thus not responding to anything. You know that they need to get a medication that will help revive them as soon as possible. Which route would you use to administer the medication? IM, IV, sub-Q, or ask the patient to take it PO? Remember, I said that IV is the fastest and most direct way to administer medication into the body. And in an emergency setting, this is what you would reach for. You didn't even need to know that medication given IM, sub-Q, and PO are slower in onset than IV, which they are. You also shouldn't have answered PO because your patient is unresponsive. How could they drink the medication while unconscious? Of course, there are many nuances to this decision, but at least you now have a basic understanding of why you must know the different routes of drug administration from a more practical standpoint. Just like there are principal routes of drug administration, there are principal sites of drug administration too. Subcutaneous injection sites include areas that overlay the back of the upper arms, the abdomen, the front of the thighs, parts of the back right below the shoulder blades, and the very top of the buttocks. Primary injection sites using the IM route include areas of the shoulder and various parts of the upper leg. As for injections given via the IV route, the veins of the forearm are very commonly used. If those cannot be used for any reason, veins on the dorsal side of the hands may be used. By dorsal, I mean the back of the hand. You learned about 4 principal routes of drug administration. They are IM, intramuscular, IV, intravenous, SQ, subcutaneous, PO, per os, or by mouth. Of course, we already know PO goes by mouth, but the first 3 also have specific areas of the body where they are most commonly used. Sub-Q injections can be given into the back of the upper arms. IM injections can be given into the shoulder, and IV injections are most commonly given into the veins of the forearm.